Hi, this is Kelly with Appalachian Memory Keepers, and today we're going to be visiting the 39th Annual Heritage Festival at Hart Square Village in Vail, North Carolina. We'll be taking a step back in time to explore the largest collection of historic log structures in the country, right here at this incredible open-air museum. This annual Heritage Festival brings history to life, offering visitors a chance to see traditional crafts up close and meet the people who dedicate themselves to preserving these skills.
When the horse starts moving and all these wheels and belts start turning, the gin itself is powered. You have someone standing back here, maybe a couple people, pushing the cotton into these blades. And they're serrated so that it kind of catches onto the fibers and then pulls them through these tiny little slots. These slots are too small for the cotton seed to fit through, so they're pushed out and collected down here. They can then be, of course, replanted, but they're also commonly used, or were commonly used, in animal seed and cottonseed oil. So on the back side, you have the brushes also moving inward, and they just kind of brush anything out of the these serrated blades right here, and then it goes down a little chute in the back to be collected in a storage closet basically, and then people would collect it from there and move it to the cotton press where it could be baled.
How much cotton in a day could it process?
Oh gosh, if they were running it from dawn to dusk in the summer, they probably could have gotten through hundreds of pounds of cotton, because I mean, you saw how fast that was moving with just one horse. Yeah. Traditionally, it would be 4 beasts.
And they wouldn't be stopping every couple seconds. They'd be running.
They would only be stopping if someone got injured.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to get blood on the cotton.
How much does a bale of cotton weigh?
It depends. They have different sizes. That one over there is 500 pounds. So they could be really, really big. So this is like 60 years into the life cycle of the gin. So it had had a lot of time to be refined upon, and it improved productivity a lot. I believe that modern gins are a very similar mechanism, but of course you don't have real live people sticking their fingers into the blades trying to push the cotton through.
OSHA.
Yeah, thank goodness, right, for OSHA. The original gin looked something like that back there with those 2 hand cranks.
Oh, wow.
So still faster than separating the seed from the fiber by hand, but certainly not as efficient as a machine like this. You can touch the cotton fiber if you want and just see like how deeply embedded those seeds are. You can imagine how a machine like this would have really brought cotton to the forefront of the Southern economy, for better or for worse.
This is the cotton press, or cotton baler. It would make a, when Eli Whitney made the cotton gin, we started producing so much cotton that we didn't have a good way to ship it. They would put it on the ships and jump up and down on it, but we needed a good way to get it because it was, you know, in high demand. So this would make 500-pound bales, and people would be running this all day. They would have mules to use it as a brake. We'd run it down and press the cotton, then turn it around backwards and run it back up, and pour more cotton in, and then go back and forth all day long.
All praises to your name, he loves me so. Now I am his, he's not, I know. Suffered it all because he loved me, because he loved me.
Oh, okay.
Woman's job to do all that. It was just looked as part of the food. Even the kids would drink a little bit of a low alcohol beer or cider. The water would often have bacteria in it. Now the beer and cider was a lot different than what we're used to. They didn't have hops usually. They didn't really have a way to keep it cold and carbonated, so it was usually a flat, warmer beverage. They didn't have any way to add yeast, and back then they didn't know what the yeast was, but everything was wild yeast. We do the same thing with this. This is my wild sourdough starter, and when we do the hard cider, we don't add any store-bought yeast or wine or berry yeast.
What's this contraption?
Well, that is a good question. It is a hay press.
Okay.
It's one of the earlier versions of the modern day hay balers. It's the forerunner. It was a manufactured piece, okay? So it was built to sell. Manufactured in Michigan. Now, how it got here, we don't know exactly how it got in the South, but it did. Made its way here. Probably was bought and then realized it's easier to just shock it in the field or continue to do like we have been doing. So they paid too much for it just to let it rot down. So they threw it in a barn and forgot about it. Somebody finally drug it out, and this is what it became.
What year does it date to?
Probably in the early mid 1850s. It's designed to be drug out into the field with a horse. You can see the hole right there where the cleavage went to hook to a single tree, and then been drugged wherever it needed to be. And then once you got there, you would simply put the straw in the hopper and then pull the lever down like so. Compressing it or packing it. Okay. Once it's compressed, then you would tie it off with wire, and that's what your finished product looks like.
That's interesting. They use wire instead of string.
It is wire. Wire was used because it wouldn't rot on you out there. Okay. You could store it. And wire was, at that time, was pretty cheap and reusable.
I've got that Amish boy right out there, Enos. He does better. He does better than that.
I don't know if you can see this in low light, but this is a slave tag from an auction. It has the number 463 on it and the word servant and the location of the sale, which was Charlotte, North Carolina. So what have you got there? Is that a mold?
Yep, so it is a mold. We're doing green sand foundry. What we do is we have a pattern in the middle that we would like to make out of aluminum. And so we're using the sand to make a mold around it. And then we will open this. Mine's ready to open in just a second. We'll open it, take the mold out, and then we'll pour molten aluminum in it.
You done with aluminum, and I've been there for like 3 years because I couldn't melt. What's wrong with this thing?
So what are we making with the aluminum? What's
So historically it would have been like different pieces for your wagon or anything that you needed out of metal that you couldn't carve. Today we are making, him and I are making little ornaments for his class. Dave over there is making ornaments. We just do heart square ornaments and then we sell them on that side. So they're just commemorative ornaments.
Cool.
We've got all sorts of things. We've got engine parts. We make kind of anything. Hole will be in the top. When they melt the aluminum down, which they're doing,
They pour it in that
pour it in the hole. Yep, it goes down like that.
and comes into there.
It fills it up.
Okay,
Yep,
got
and then
it,
we
got
break it out, and it looks like those. And then when they're cool, in just a minute, I'll break.
So tell me about this oven.
Well, so you basically fire up the oven and you push it all to the sides and everything to cook in the middle. And at first it goes really fast and then it cools off and it takes longer and longer for it to cook. And then you refire and start over.
So how long does it take for what you just put in there?
That will take 5-10 minutes.
5 or 10 minutes? Because it's at temperature and it's ready to go.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, it will start cooling down and it will take longer and longer.
Is this what they call the Beehive Oven?
Yes.
Okay.
the belt, the return. It's just crazy, the technology.
Yeah, it's not even what cornmeal out of the front. Oh, you can touch it. We're not eating any of this. Yeah, that's what they're selling. And then everything else.
We got some darning, knitting. Knitting. So how would you describe the difference between knitting and darning?
Darning is to patch up a hole. Knitting is
from scratch.
From scratch.
Yeah. Let me see what you got there.
This is the way they knitted back in then. These are just, we call them double points now. They called them knitting pins back then. We have 3 needles in the work and working with the 4th one. Today we'd put a 4th needle in it and work with the 5th needle, and or use a circular needle. So that's the difference in what we do now and then. I've got some examples of socks out here. I've got an 1817 sock, a Civil War sock. There were 2 different colors because the American Red Cross would send out the yarn, and the Union get one color and the Confederate get another color. If they were killed on the battlefield, they'd steal all their clothing and everything except for their socks. So that's the way they knew which side they fought for.
So where are we right now?
So we're at the Rhodes House. And this is the living entertaining area. It's 3 stories. There's 4 fireplaces, 3 downstairs, 1 upstairs. It is the largest house on the property. It has this living area, mom, dad's room, plus kids under 5 would stay in this first level. The next room is your dining area. The last room is a kitchen. Upstairs is a open room for like kids' plays. There's also more beds up there. And then the 3rd floor is just beds. This would be our kitchen area where we would cook and do our meals. And then we have a pantry that's actually attached. And then outside will be our barns for storage, and also like where we do our laundry. And then off to the left is the outhouse, which is 3 seats.
A 3-seater?
3-seater.
Tell me about that.
I don't want to. I've never been in that thing.
In case you get lonely.
I mean, in case you get lonely, and when you gotta go, you gotta go. So I know my mom was saying that, you know, when the kid gets up in the middle of the night, you're gonna get everybody else up to go to the bathroom as well. So.
So we're in the Hart Square print shop, the one and only print shop that we have out here. This is our printing press. This was made in 1906 down in Ohio, of all places. But they discontinued this model in 1911, so they're hard to get your hands on, but we managed it.
Please help describe this process for me.
Oh, yeah. So, easy enough. Beginning of the day, the first thing we do is actually light our fire. This is heat set ink, so it needs heat to be able to become liquid. That dries a lot easier in the cool. Very great for printing purposes. But you take your ink, and it looks like ours is starting to run a little low. And you, in fact, if you want to, you dab a little up on this ink plate here. So this actually rotates as the machine goes. In the back, there's a series of ratcheting teeth. And so as you print, that's going to spin around so that the rollers can get evenly distributed ink. And those rollers come down to our type here. You would set this at the beginning of every run, whatever you were doing, you know, say you're printing, you know, Tale of Two Cities, page 1, you know. And you got your apprentice off to the side, and he's setting type for page 2, and you run as many prints of that as you want. Rollers come down, get the ink on it, presses it onto the page. Easy as that. This specific machine can put out 3,600 pages a day which is a market improvement on the 40 that you could get with a block printing press like those over there. But
how many can he do?
Oh yeah, well, if I really let him go hog wild, he can get 5,000 today. But you know,
what? No, he's young.
Yeah, the only limit is how quick he can pedal. Really, right. These things hardly ever break. We've only had to fix this one once, but when it's all cast iron, I mean, you know, what's gonna break?
I hope you have enjoyed this visit to the 39th Annual Heritage Festival at Hart Square Village. It was an amazing mix of sights and sounds, and we even learned a few things. If you are interested in learning more, please visit heartsquare.com. On behalf of everyone at Appalachian Memory Keepers, thanks for watching, and we will see you on down the road.